This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 52 of the Dressage Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network. We would like to thank our sponsors, Kentucky Performance Products. They offer supplements designed to give you the most value for your dollars. Visit them at kppusa.com. On the show this week is Isabelle Werth, and also we're joined by a young rider, Isabelle Leibler.
When I will come to Kentucky, Frederick will come to Kentucky as well. I will try to teach him a bit English.
This is Chris Stafford in Lexington, Kentucky.
And I'm Mary Lordson in Harvard, Massachusetts, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show.
Hi, Mary. You know, Harvard, Massachusetts sounds like a very distinguished address to be calling from.
It's a beautiful place, I must say, especially here in the spring. It's just a great place to be, and it's full of equestrians too, so it's a lot of fun.
Well, I'd imagine you're always glad to see the spring up in Massachusetts because you have a hard winter up there, don't you?
Oh, that's for sure. So it's always nice if you're able to escape from to Florida for the winter months because it can be tough here.
Well, I'm delighted to have you back. Thank you so much for coming back, Mary. We had fun last time, and I hope you'll have fun again this time because we've got a new segment that we're going to introduce that you're going to tell everybody about a little bit later on in the show. But you've also been having some fun since you were last on the show. Tell us a little bit about this mystery photo shoot that you were involved in.
Okay, I don't know how much of a mystery it really is, but I had a photo shoot here at Cadence Farm with a few of my equine friends. Ultimate Magazine, which is a traveling and fashion magazine, came to my home, and we did some very different sort of photos with my horses, something that I had never done before. It was all about being really fashion forward, almost Lady Gaga inspired sort of clothes. And I posed on my horse Rossignol bareback and backwards in some crazy clothes, and it was definitely a new experience for the both of us. And also did some shots with my mare Windsor and our little miniature horse. So we have some really neat shots from the shoot. It was a blast.
Well, it sounds like a combination of Lady Gaga and Lady Godiva then, if you were backwards on your...
Yeah, you could definitely say that. There was hair extensions involved, so it was Lady Godiva as well.
What a lot of fun. So what did your horse think to you? Well, there's different, not only the different positions, but the clothes, the costumes that you had to wear. Was he a little bit shocked?
He was definitely a bit shocked, but I was surprised how composed he remained throughout the whole thing. He did get a bit frustrated, but we caught some neat shots with him with his, front leg in the air because, it looked like it was on purpose, but he was definitely just wanted to wrap it up. He was getting a bit frustrated having these bright, scarves flowing all over the place in his face, and but he bared with it pretty well.
Well, what fun. And so where can we see these photos? Where will they be published?
These photos will be in Ultimate Magazine, and they also have a website. I can't tell you the exact website because I don't know it off the top of my head, but they should be coming into the June issue.
Right. So coming up fairly shortly then. Now, will you put a link on your website? Will you tweet about it? I know you're a happy tweeter.
As soon as I have the edited photos, I will be posting them on my Twitter account. There's no doubt.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. Well, it sounds like you would be a very good candidate for our new show here on the Horse Radio Network, which is about tack and habit. Because I can imagine you in your new habit now, which is this Lady Godiva / Lady Gaga habit. And some pretty fancy tack as well. So I thought that you'd be a nice fit. I think we ought to tell our friends over there, Glenn and Helena, about you and tell them to look out for the photos too. So
yeah, that'd be great.
Well, before we go any further, we are going to hear from Glenn and Helena about this brand new Tack and Habit show. So let's hear all about it because it sounds like a lot of fun.
This is Glenn the Geek from the Stable Scoop Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network.
And this is Helena B. from the Stable Scoop Radio Show.
Well, Helena and I have a very exciting announcement to make on all of our other shows here at the Horse Radio Network, which is becoming quite a collection.
Yeah, we're packing them in.
And we're adding one, and that's where Helena and I come in. We get to do our second show, and we're so excited about it.
We are going to talk about tack and habits. All things, all gear, all equipment, all kinds of riding clothes, formerly known as habits. We're going to pick some cool stuff, and we're going to talk about it.
Every week, we're going to come to you with a show. It's going to be a short show, 20 minutes, half an hour, no longer than that, where we talk about a couple of new or old or items that we like that are out there on the market today. Helena and I both have a background in equestrian retail. We're sort of nerds that way, and we just love stuff. So we're going to be giving you our opinion, whether you want it or not, on some of the new products coming out. And then we're going to just review like 2 new items every week. Helena's going to pick one. I'm going to pick one. And then for the bigger of the 2 items every week, we're going to have the manufacturer on to talk about it. So it's going to be a lot of fun, entertaining, light, fluffy, just like Stable Scoop. Not a lot of, serious going on. But, we're going to hopefully give you some ideas of things you might want to buy in the future or things that you just totally want to stay away from.
And especially things that save you time. That's a big thing for me.
Yes.
Like gadgets and gizmos and high-tech stuff coming into the barn to make life easier.
And we've started the show. The first one is now live. You can find it at TACK, T-A-C-K, and A-N-D, Habit, Habit.com. That's tackandhabit.com. Helena did the logo. It is cute as the dickens, and now probably my favorite logo on the entire network.
Yeah, me too.
It's so cute. And once you look at it, you just think of Helena and I because that fits our personalities to a T.
And that's pretty much what we look like.
Yes. So stop on over to tackandhabit.com. Join us every week for a little fun and frivolity about your favorite tack items. And that could be stuff for the barn, stuff for you, stuff for your horse, bits and saddles, and who knows what. We're going to get into a little bit of everything every week here on the Horse Radio Network. See you next week at the store, Helena.
At the store. Okay, bye.
Well, we want to wish them the best of luck with that. And I think, with highlighting different tack and equipment and clothing and accessories, there's just so much in the horse world, isn't there, Mary? I can imagine it would fill a show every week.
Oh, for sure. There's always new products coming out, and I think it's great to have them reviewed and get their names out there for people to see.
Well, I think we should put a plug in here for, the co-host to get some discounts over there, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, that would be really nice.
All right, well, we want to wish them the best of luck over there at the Tack and Habit radio show. Well, on the show here this week, as I said, we've got 2 very exciting guests. Isabell Werth, who we caught up again, who, of course, since we last spoke to her, she had her little boy Frederick, and she's back on the show scene in full regalia herself, and very successfully at that. So I'm looking forward to sharing that conversation with you a little bit later on in the show. And also Mary's special guest beginning a new segment here on the Dressage Radio Show, our Young Rider segment. But before we get to all that, we just have a couple of items of news this week, Mary. And, of course, if you follow international dressage, you will know that superstar Moorlands Totilas won yet again with a fantastic result, 88.45, Mary, in that Masters at the CDI 5-star in Munich, the Equus Masters series, which has become very popular. And they just beat Adelinda Cornelissen with Parzival on just by 5 points, 83.10. And Isabell Werth came in third there. She said she was heading to Munich when we spoke to her the other day, and she performed with Warum nicht and Hans, as she calls him, and they finished on 81.9. But incredible scores from Totilas again.
Yes, and it's amazing to see 3 scores in the 80s. It's just incredible.
It really is. You have to wonder, how much better can that horse get? He had a fantastic spectator gathering there. The crowds were. They actually had to enhance the security there in Munich because of the crowds that were, trying to get to this. Of course, he's a stallion and he's being used as a stallion. So, he's a very precious commodity in many ways. But to draw those kind of crowds, one horse to a dressage horse is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so great for our sport too, and it's just amazing that this horse exists.
Yes. Yes, and you're right. It is so good for the sport because it puts the focus back on the horse. And, we're always in danger, I think, with any equestrian sport of focusing too much on the rider when, and I think that has happened in some other sports that we've just kind of drifted away a little bit away from the horse. And certainly in this sport, with stars like Tottilis, you're really grabbing the crowd's attention, and people who maybe would not have noticed dressage before, maybe new to the sport too.
Yeah.
So that was a fantastic result for them to be winning again, and a great preparation, of course, as he gears up for the rest of the outdoor summer shows on his way to the World Equestrian Games. It would be a brave person who would bet against him for the freestyle at WEG, though, wouldn't it, Mary?
Oh gosh, yeah. The horses, the team, both Edward and Totilas, are just unstoppable together.
They really are, and of course we would love to keep those medals on this side of the pond, but I think we've got. I mean, the rest of the world really has got to do all the work to catch up with him.
They're a big threat, but it's an exciting threat to see.
It is, and I think that stadium at the Kentucky Horse Park is going to be absolutely jam-packed when he comes in to do his freestyle in the fall this year at the World Equestrian Games. Can't wait to see that. Well, before we get there, there's just one other result that we want to mention, and that was from the Hamburg CDI 3-Star, which took place this past weekend. Those of you who follow the show every week will know that my co-host Catherine Adat, who was on the show last week, was heading to Hamburg with Winnie Morrow, and she finished second in the freestyle with him. That's her 10-year-old Hanoverian gelding. She was very excited about him and came away with a great result. So I want to give a shout-out to Catherine for that result there in Hamburg last week. Very exciting for her. It's a horse that you know something about, Mary. You've watched him?
Yes, I've watched him only on YouTube, actually. But, I mean, the horse is really incredible. He's definitely a rising star, and it's another one to watch out for, I think.
Absolutely. Well done, Catherine, and she'll be back on the show here in a week or two's time and tell us about that. Well, we're coming to our guest this week, our first guest, I should say, Isabell Werth. But before we do, we're going to hear from our friends over at Kentucky Performance Products. So don't go away. We'll be back in just a second to hear from Isabell.
Not every horse needs a supplement, and selecting the right supplement for your horse can be a science. Kentucky Performance Products simplifies your search for the right supplement, and they provide products that are scientifically developed to address the specific problems facing modern horses. Their website and customer service people can give you detailed information on each supplement, helping you find the right solution to your horse's problem. You can trust Kentucky Performance Products supplements to provide the ingredients you need in effective amounts so your horse gets the most out of each scoopful. Kentucky Performance Products, helping you keep your horses healthy, sound, and competitive. Visit them at kppusa.com. That's kppusa.com.
Well, thanks again to all the team there at Kentucky Performance Products, Karen Isberg and all her team at Versailles in Kentucky, who are great supporters of all of our shows here on the Horse Radio Network. Thank you for that, Karen. And we also want to tell you that we've got another number of other shows that KPP support as well. So look out for those here on the Horse Radio Network. Well, as I mentioned, Isabell Werth is our guest this week, our first guest, and I was able to catch up with her before she headed off to Munich to compete there this past weekend. And she, of course, now has her hands full. If you follow the show, you'll remember that I had a conversation with her just before she gave birth to her son, Frederick. This was back last year, the end of last year. And her life changed somewhat once she gave birth to her first son. And so I said to her then, we must catch up with you when you get back in the saddle in the spring, when you begin your spring campaign, and see what life looks like now for you with having a baby in your arms as well as a very busy show schedule. So I was very lucky to catch up with her, and she very graciously gave some time to talk to us just the other day. So let's hear from Isabell and what she's up to this year. Hi, Isabell. Welcome back to the show.
Hi, Chris. Thank you.
Great to have you back. And I know the last time we spoke, you were on the verge of a major life-changing event, the birth of your son, Frederick. Tell us how it is.
Oh, it's really great. It's amazing, and it's outstanding feeling. And Frederick is really great and not trying and not difficult, and helps me a lot with organizing. So it's super.
So how do you fit him into your routine now? Has it changed your life completely, Isabelle?
Not completely, but before Frederick, I wake up and everything started around the horses, and now I wake up and everything has to be organized around Frederick, and but it works really good because he's very easy and really a great child and a great baby without any problems. I cross my fingers. And I hope that it will go on like this, and so I have no problems to organize my normal day at home, because the whole team is really super, and I start a bit later than before the birth, so I start at 9, round about 9 with riding. And Frederick is sleeping, or he's in the office with Mary, and he's taking care of him. And then I ride my horses, and normally I ride them to lunchtime, and after lunch then maybe 2-3 more. So I'm quite back and quite close to normal life, what I had before Frederick. But it's just a question of organization.
Well, some riders say that once you have a child, it changes your priorities, and some riders, if they are in jumping, of course, they become a little bit more cautious. Maybe as a dressage rider, you don't feel that, do you?
No, that's not the question. I think it's not a question of a rider. A child change your life and your priorities, of course. The child is the most important person in your life now, and you are responsible for a little baby, for a little human now, and so everything else is behind the baby, and I think that's changed, and other problems they look much more easy now, but my riding is the same, and it's there's nothing different. I think when I started with my own stable here, I started with a bit more responsibility. So when I start with a 3-year-old, I take the lunch before instead of jumping on, because I don't want to stop for 6 weeks. It's impossible when you have your own stable and a lot of shows in your schedule. So I think that's normal, that you're a bit more careful. But after Frederick now, nothing changed that way.
So I'm sure he's been to a few shows with you already.
To every show. To each show, how to say, yeah. No, he's always with me, and right now he's behind me. He's laying on the ground on his, how do you say it, with a lot of toys, and some things make music, so he's quite busy with that at the moment.
Well, when you talk about your shows, I mean, you soon got back in the saddle, Isabelle, and were riding fit, competition fit, and I want to talk about two of your rising stars, Don Johnson and El Santo, because you had a great show with them in Mannheim recently.
Yeah, that's right. I'm really pleased with them. El Santo, he started the season with a bit of jump in a cold water with the World Cup qualifier in Göteborg, and he was, I think, 5th or 6th there, and he did a great job. And now he improved a lot. He became more safe with all the exercises, and he improved in the muscles and in his impression. So I was really happy with him in the Grand Prix special in Mannheim. In the Grand Prix, we had a few mistakes still, but in the special, it was really happy and it was really good. And Don Johnson, I started in Dortmund in small tour with him, and the first competition was quite okay. The second competition, he was really not spooky, was naughty. And then he was in Hüngse, his second show, and there he was really good. He won the St. George and was second in his first intermediate one. So he improved now the last shows, and in Mannheim for this first outdoor season and outdoor show, he was quite serious already and good in the qualification. So I was really happy with both young horses.
Well, El Santo has had a lot of praise for his beautiful piafs already, Isabelle. Where did you find this horse? Tell us his story. How long have you been riding him?
We bought him as a 4-year-old in Wickhardt. Wickhardt here is a sales station of our region here. And from our breeding region, and so it's a great opportunity for the breeders to bring the horses there. They ride the horses, they sell the horses. So and because of that, it's always a good chance to find an interesting young horse there. And so in time by time, I go there and have a look, and that was one of the times I were there and have had a look for a good young one, and I saw El Santo, and I was really impressed about his long swing and his very good basics he had. And he has, and that was the reason why we bought him, because I was quite sure that he will become a good Grand Prix horse. You never know how good, but that was I had when I saw the horse. So we bought the horse, and then step by step he became more and more, really. Good and serious. He's always uncomplicated. That's really impressive. He's always polite, and so he was in the young horses competition. He was successful, and then he was in the young horses on the St. Georg tour. He was really successful, and then already in the Grand Prix tour, he was from the beginning. He was really successful. So that's not normal maybe, but he's really easy on that way, and very, very talented for all the difficult things he has to carry himself, for example, the pirouettes, piafs. So I'm really in hope with the horse, yeah.
And of course, both of these horses are just 9 years old. And Don Johnson, did you find him in the same way?
Don Johnson is 8 still, and this one was, he was offered by a friend of us. He called us and said, I have a really interesting horse here in my stable, so maybe you can have a look. But he's a bit naughty, so maybe this horse is not a horse for each rider. So we had a look, and we were really impressed about his lightness and his he is really outstanding and spectacular movements, and but the most difficult thing is to get him really serious and concentrated, but now he's on the way, and I hope that we can bring him in Grand Prix to the end of the year, because he's really talented for the Piaf Passage as well, and he's with the exercises of the Grand Prix, I think he he's quite close and quite ready.
Of course, you've got your other two main horses to campaign for the World Equestrian Team. What are the plans for them this year?
The plan is now to go to Munich with Hannes and to start the outdoor season. And the week after, there's Wiesbaden, and I plan to go with to compete with Sedgmo. Yeah, and I try to qualify with both horses, like I've tried the last years, and then we see which one is in the best shape and concentration for Kentucky. So I can be happy to have two of these and great horses, and we'll see what happens during the season.
Wonderful. So you really have got four very good horses now. An exciting year for you, and obviously to make the team again. How many horses do you have totally in your barn, in your stables now, Isabelle, that you're riding every day?
We have around about 40 horses under the saddle, and we are four and a half riders to ride the horses. And but they're from young, from 3 to Apache, for example. He's the oldest with 17, and that's our daily business, and we try to prepare the horses then for competitions. And I think we have really some very interesting young ones behind the competition horses, and so that's really our passion, what we really love day by day, to improve the young ones to competition horses.
Well, life goes on full speed for you then, and even with Frederick now, it won't be long before he's running around and asking you for a pony. Yeah,
but if he would ask, I would be happy, of course. But maybe he will ask for tractor, for bicycle. So you never know. Or maybe he wants to play soccer. We will see. But that would be great, of course. So the pony is no problem.
Well, I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun with him as he grows up, and we look forward to seeing you both. You'll bring him to Kentucky, I hope.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Well, good.
When I will come to Kentucky, Frederick will come to Kentucky as well.
Perfect. Well, hopefully he'll be saying something by then, and we'll be able to talk to him too.
Okay, I will try to teach him a bit English. Maybe hi or welcome or whatever.
There you go. Perfect. All right. Well, great to catch up with you again. And the best of luck with your campaign preparing for WEG. And we really look forward to seeing you over here in Kentucky later this year.
Thank you very much. And it's really exciting to prepare everything. And I hope we will see us in Kentucky in the best way.
Absolutely. Thank you, Isabelle.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye, Chris.
Well, our thanks again to Isabelle. She's clearly up to an awful lot this year. As I said, she's got a very busy show schedule in the World Equestrian Games, of course, is front and centre. And it's all to play for, isn't it? You know, there was a time when the Germans were so dominant, but it's for some time now it's been between the Dutch and the Germans. But the Germans don't have the strength of the squad, do they, Mary? Obviously the Dutch are just full steam ahead now, and the Germans just a little bit short of a horse or two, aren't they?
Yeah, and it's very noticeable. The change has been very noticeable over the years, just how much stronger the Dutch team has become, and that they really have these horses and riders that are constantly coming up the ranks and developing their team and really making them the top of the sport.
It really is. It's very exciting to watch. But we will be following them, as I said, as they prepare their campaign, getting closer and closer to the World Equestrian Games later this year. So thanks again to Isabelle for taking time out of her busy schedule to talk to us. Well, we're going to take a break here to listen to a PSA from our friend over at the Horse Radio Network, Glenn the Geek.
Glenn the Geek here, and we get many emails every week from people who really like the shows, and they ask how they can help support the Horse Radio Network. Well, you already do that by listening to the shows and by buying from all of our fantastic sponsors. And now you can add to that by supporting us directly and very easily. The next time you need something from Amazon, just go to any of our websites and click on the Amazon banner in the middle of the page. Then go on and buy your Amazon items. It won't cost you a penny more, just an extra click. But Amazon gives us a little bit back just because you clicked on the banner. Tell your family and friends to do the same thing. Every little bit helps us to keep giving you the quality equestrian programming that you have come to love. Thanks for listening.
Well, we're coming to our new segment, Mary, that I'm really excited about this, and I'm thrilled that you're, able to spend time with us and do this when you're on the show. And I want you, if you would, to tell our listeners what it is you have in mind with this new segment.
Sure, and I have to thank you, Chris, for allowing me to have this opportunity to have this segment on the show. This is definitely something that I'm very passionate about, and it's going to be a young rider segment for the Dressage radio show, where we'll have a young rider come on and be a part of the show with us, and we will just ask them all sorts of fun questions, anything you want to know, and just spotlight these riders. Of course, young riders are the future of our sport, so I think it's incredibly important to see what they're up to, and everybody always has a unique story and a different background. So it's going to be a fun segment, and I'm very excited to host it.
So who do you have in mind for our first segment this week, Mary?
Well, for this week, we will have Isabelle Leibler, who is a very well-accomplished young rider who has been competing in the pony classes for a number of years now, the FEI pony classes, and she also debuted in the FEI junior levels this past year. Isabelle is an incredible rider and is also a great person and someone that I really feel that we should take a good look at as a model for our young riders here in the U.S. And she also has some very exciting news. She was recently selected to go over and compete in Germany, her first time competing internationally. And she will be going over competing two of her ponies in the Hagen competition and also training there for, I believe, a month or so. So she's up for an incredible experience, and we're really looking forward to hearing about it. So I would like to introduce Isabelle Leibler to the show. All right, Isabelle, I'd love to introduce you to the new Young Riders segment on the Dressage radio show. And basically the concept of this segment is really just to highlight young riders from all over the U.S. and abroad. And I couldn't think of a better first guest than you, especially with all the exciting news you have coming up with your big trip to Germany planned. So I'd love to just ask you a few general questions about your experience with horses. The first being, could you tell us about your first encounter with horses? When did you first become hooked?
Well, I first became really interested in horses because of my family, especially my mother, who was in the hunter business, which was, totally just the total opposite of dressage. And she had a couple of hunters. She had a little sales business, and I first came down to the Winter Equestrian Festival about 10 years ago when I was 5, and just saw dressage in a nearby ring and absolutely fell in love with it and told my mom that was what I wanted to do. And she was a little surprised and wasn't really enthusiastic at first,
I
going
can
from
imagine.
hunter to dressage.
I can imagine a 5-year-old saying that. A 5-year-old saying they wanted to do dressage must have been pretty surprising for her to hear.
Yeah, she'd never even seen it before, and she was just overwhelmed. But we eventually found Lyndon Gray, who was my first trainer, and that's really how I became hooked.
That's great. And how long did you work with Lyndon?
I worked with Lyndon for about 6 years.
Wow. Yeah, I can't think of a better
start. She was amazing.
Yeah, I could not think of a better start getting into the dressage world than to be working with her. That's great.
Absolutely, yes, she was wonderful.
So did you start with ponies? I know you're still working with your ponies now, but did you go right to having dressage ponies, or did you go into hunters at all?
Well, before I started with London, I did a little bit of riding. Wasn't too serious about it, just a little hunter hack here and there. But when I came to London, I really got serious about riding, and I got my first dressage pony, who's now retired now, and but that's really, I really started on ponies just because, you know, I'm a very small person, and you know, at 15 and I was even smaller, 5, and of course, and so I couldn't go right to a horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now, which ponies do you have?
I have my 2 German riding ponies, Depardieu and Going West.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been competing SEI ponies with them since I was 12, so about 3 years.
Oh, wow. And did you find them here in the States?
No, I found them in Germany.
Oh, very cool. So they're going to be going back to their homeland then in a few weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, a week from Sunday.
Wow. Yeah, so tell us about this trip that you have coming up and how it all started.
Well, it really started this past winter when I had a pretty successful season with the ponies at the CDIs here in Florida, and I submitted my scores just for the heck of it to the International Youth Festival in Hagen, and I was really surprised when they gave me an invite. And, you know, I was like, wow, but at the same time I said, you know, how am I going to do this? It's a lot to prepare. Of course, it's expensive, and so I applied for some scholarships, and I ended up getting a scholarship from the Dressage Foundation, Michael Poulin Fund, and the D4K scholarship, and my sponsor, Peak Performance, is giving me a little grant too, which is fantastic. I'm really grateful for everything that they've done.
Yeah, that's absolutely wonderful. So they selected you to take both ponies then, right?
Yes.
Wow. So this will be your first taste of competition then on the international scene in Germany then, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it will be. I'm so excited. I'm totally psyched for all of this. It's my first time.
That's incredible. And so you'll also be training. And how long will you be there in total?
Well, let's see. I will be training for 2 weeks before the big show, and then after the show, I'll be training for about another 2 weeks, and I should be there for about the whole time should be about 6 weeks.
Wow. That is an experience that you're going to have to come back and share with all of us here on the Dressage Radio. That's really, really fantastic that you're able to do this at such a young age, Isabelle. Now, what I'd like just to ask you is, this is a question that I'm hoping to ask every young rider that comes onto the show, because we all have our equestrian idols out there. And I would love to ask you who your idol is in, you know, either in the equestrian world or just in the dressage world, someone that you really look up to and perhaps always have looked up to for inspiration in your riding.
Yeah, well, you know, I always have to credit the people who've trained me, you know, Lendon and Cooney Page, who I trained with for a while, and of course my trainer now, Lars Peterson. But I've always looked up to Ashley Holzer just because of her whole style. It's just very quiet and positive, and I've really just tried to hook myself into that style because I think it's really effective. It's bold training, but in a really positive and just effective way. And I really just tried to learn from her and watch her this past season because it really, you know, she's fantastic and she's so precise in the ring, and just her showmanship is really inspirational for me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and you are very fortunate that you've been able to watch her down in Florida. That's so nice that you can actually see her in action. So another question I'd love to ask you is one piece of advice that you think you could hand on and pass on to other young riders that are pursuing the sport of dressage. Obviously, you've been in the sport now for 10 solid years and have been exposed to lots of very, you know, enriching experiences. And so if you could just share one piece of advice that you could give to other young riders.
I mean, mostly just from my own experience is to just keep pushing through everything, because with dressage, I think it is the hardest equestrian sport just because of the time it takes to make a horse, and it's frustrating because they're animals and you can't talk to them and they get sick or they go lame, or you're having a roadblock with, you know, any kind of movement, and sometimes you don't really know what to do. And what I'm starting to learn now as a developing young rider is to just be patient and to wait it out and to take your time and relax about everything, because training an animal and becoming successful it's something that happens over time and not just in a couple months. It takes years and years, and I'm really starting to realize that now, which I never did at a young age because I was just so ambitious and I really just was so determined. But now my biggest advice would just be to just be patient and to relax, because I've been there where I've been too determined or too pushy, and it has totally backfired.
Yes.
Just completely. And you just have to step back, take a break, reevaluate, or even if you're having trouble in the ring one day with, say, your left half pass, it's just not going well, just to walk, take a breather, walk a couple times around the ring, think about what you're doing, how you're going to approach everything, and then go back to it. That's something that I've really learned, and that I really think is the most important part. It's like everything that you can learn.
Yeah, well, that's a fantastic piece of advice, Isabelle, and definitely something that us young riders need to live by, because it's true. A lot of us get wrapped up, especially those who are in competition. You can become so wrapped up in, pushing yourself and your horse to make that score, to get that ribbon. And it is very true that patience is key with horses, and especially
it really is.
Yeah.
It really is, especially with horses, because they're very sensitive animals, and I think that sometimes when we train them, we forget about that. And I really try to remember that every time I go into the ring, that they have feelings and they really want to learn with you and help you and work for you. And I really try to get that relationship with them.
Well, and it's very evident in your riding that you have had that patience with your horses, just given how well you've done with your ponies. And you also have a junior horse that you're working with as well this year. Is that right?
Yes, that's true. Dreamlight, my mare.
Oh, that's so cool. And this is going to be your second year doing juniors?
Yes. Yep, my second year. I'm really excited.
That's great. So is the North American Young Rider Junior Championship something that you're working towards for 2010?
Not this year. More next year I'm focusing on it, because she's actually recovering from a case of pneumonia, which she got on a trailer coming down back from Devon, which was just really unfortunate. So we're letting her take her time and recovering, and she'll be back competing probably midsummer, end of the summer. So it's another thing where patience is key,
Yeah, that's for sure. Injury is going to be so frustrating.
Yeah, it's horses, as my trainer said.
Yeah, exactly. You can't forget that they're animals too. Well, Isabelle, thank you so much for coming on the show, and we will definitely be catching up with you and watching out for you as you go on your big trip overseas, and good luck to you and your ponies.
Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting me onto the show. It was great. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. We hope you'll come back.
Thank you very much, guys.
Well, that was great fun. I really love this new segment, Mary, and so nice to hear from young riders with so much promise and so much enthusiasm to get started in the sport, because you know what it's like yourself. There are so many choices for young people now. So many choices, but to get this opportunity, and as you said earlier, to be able to travel overseas at such a young age, what wonderful experience.
Yeah, and like you said, at such a young age, it really is a unique experience, and something that I think she'll be able to share with a lot of other young riders, and hopefully push them to, expand their dreams and look to compete overseas themselves. And Isabelle has been, I believe she went straight into dressage, and she's been competing dressage. I've seen her at the shows since she was just a little one. So it's really neat to see such a young person who's so passionate about dressage at such a young age.
It certainly is. Well, I want to thank you again for that, and I hope you'll come back in a couple of weeks' time with another young rider for this segment.
Yes, I would love to.
Terrific, terrific. Well, thank you, Mary. And I know you've also got a great tip this week that you're going to share with our listeners about preventing dry and cracked hooves. You know, we're always looking for good ideas, and this sounds like a great tip.
Yes, this is actually something that I picked up while on my while in training in Florida. I overheard a farrier talking to one of his clients, and he made a remark that one of the best times to apply hoof polish or conditioner is soon after hosing or bathing your horse. When their hooves are still nice and wet, you want to apply the hoof polish or conditioner, and it will lock in the moisture and prolong hydrated hooves. And this works even better than just applying polishes to your horse's dry hoof. And it's something you may want to do once or twice a week, depending upon the climate that you and your horse live in. You know, especially in a drier climate, you may have to do this more often. But it's just that extra step of applying it when your horses are still wet. It really helps and prolongs that hydration.
Well, that's a great tip. Thank you, Mary, for that. And I should remind you all that not only can you hear our tips here on the Dressage Radio Show, but also on Horse Tips Daily, a daily show which brings you a tip, a different tip. It can be all kinds of things. Anything that interests us in the horse world, we like to include it here on the Horse Radio Network. So don't forget to check those out. And I also want to tell you about a very exciting giveaway, Mary, that this is really exciting. It's a brand new giveaway that we started last week on the Horse Radio Network for a World Equestrian Games of WEG commemorative medallions. And there are 3, bronze, silver, and gold, that you can win, and you just sign up. It doesn't cost anything to sign up. And Glenn is going to tell us a little bit more about it.
This is Glenn the Geek here for the Horse Radio Network, and we have a very special announcement of a new giveaway that we're doing, and we're very excited about this because it ties in with the World Equestrian Games. And I have with me now Chrissy Joy, who's actually been on the 2010 radio show before, to chat about this cool giveaway that we're doing. Hi, Chrissy.
Hi, Glenn. How are you?
Good. Now, you were on the show with us, and you actually, last summer, were working as an intern over at the World Equestrian Games offices, and now you're with us on the air here today in a little different capacity.
Absolutely. I am coming from being an intern with the World Equestrian Games, and I'm back in Lexington as a part of the Bluegrass Medallions, which are the official medallions of the World Equestrian Games, and they come in bronze, silver, and gold, and they are beautiful, and we are so happy to announce that we are doing a contest for a giveaway. We're going to have 3 lucky winners that will win, whether it's bronze, silver, and gold, you never know. But the exciting part is these are the highest quality. The gold one is gorgeous. It is 0.999 fine silver with 24 karat plated gold. So it is definitely bling for the ring. You're going to want it, that's for sure.
Well, let's explain to people, let's back up a little bit and explain to people the medallions are like coins. They look like coins. They're not official currency. That's why they're not called coins.
Yeah, don't try to spend them.
But they look like a coin. And on one side, it has the Alltech FEI logo, that what I call the flaming horse there. And then on the other side, it has that logo as well, plus all the little logos of all the 8 disciplines for the games. So they're really pretty, and they are the official medallions of the games. And medallions are collectible at Olympics, at all the Olympics, and at the World Equestrian Games, at all the big sporting events around the world. These medallions are a collector's item. People that attend these events, or even if they don't, want to collect the medallions, right?
Absolutely. The quality of these medallions is something that's going to last a lifetime. And this event, being so historical, the first time in the United States, these coins will only be available this year during the time of the games. It's pretty much the best thing you could do if you have a family member who possibly can't come. These will last a lifetime, and they come in a beautiful case and a certificate of authenticity. So it's really something special to hold on to, and it's handcrafted quality, so it's gorgeous.
I have seen them in person, and they're very nice. And what we're going to do here at the Horse Radio Network is we're going to have this exclusive giveaway of a gold, a silver, and a bronze. So we'll have 3 different winners. All you have to do is stop by Horse Radio Network and click on the giveaway banner on the page or any of our websites for any of our shows. The banner will be there. You click on it, and all you have to do is go register. It's free. It's easy. There's no obligation. And it doesn't matter whether you're coming to the games or not. You can win one of these beautiful medallions. And we appreciate that that Bluegrass Medallions is working with us on this giveaway and donating these items. It's over a $500 value, isn't it?
It is. It's over $500, and we are just so thrilled to be a part of the Horse Radio Network as well. Bluegrass Medallions recently just hooked up with the World Equestrian Games, and we are just loving how excited everyone is, and we want to support our fans because you guys are pretty much the foundation to how this event's going to run and how everyone's going to have a great time. So we are so thrilled to share our medallions with you, and we hope you all, sign up for the giveaway because it's a great value. It is over $500, and you will not regret the quality of these items.
All right, great. Well, you can stop over to horseradionetwork.com, and you can sign up there. And if you would like to buy one of these medallions, you can do so now at the WEG store at the World Equestrian Games. You can go to their official site, or you can go just to directly to their shopping site at WEG2010store.com. That's WEG2010store.com, or you can go to their main site at alltechfeigames.com, and you'll find the medallions in there that you can purchase. So, well, thank you very much, Chrissy, and thank you to Bluegrass Medallions for donating these items.
Absolutely. Everyone, go quick. Sign up for the giveaway. It's going to be great, and we hope to see you at the World Equestrian Games this year.
Well, I think that sounds like we should be signing up. Do you think you could do that anonymously? It doesn't say that the co-host can't sign up, does it?
Yeah, hopefully I could do that. That's a good idea.
All right. Well, I also want to remind all of our listeners that if you're involved with a group membership organization, a U.S. Dressage Federation group membership organization, or any local dressage club, we would love to hear from you here on the Dressage Radio Show. So just drop me a line, chris@horseradionetwork.com, and tell me what club you're from and the activities that you have going on at your club and a little bit about it. And come on here on the show and tell everybody else. Would love to hear from you. And I also want to mention, Mary, that we have this really exciting, I think I shared this with you, the Para-Webathon that we're going to be hosting on the Horse Radio Network. Yes, on June the 8th, which is a Tuesday evening between 7 and 9 p.m. Eastern, to raise both funds and awareness for our para-equestrian athletes who will be bidding for a place on their team for the first ever World Equestrian Games for these para-equestrian athletes. So it's a very, very exciting initiative, and we'll have a lot of information more available on our websites, on all the Horse Radio Network websites, and the number that you'll be able to call in between 7 and 9 p.m. This is a live show, Mary, and I believe you're going to call in too.
I sure am.
That'd be wonderful. And, they're so exciting for these para-athletes to get the opportunity to compete on the world stage, in front of all these other athletes from the other disciplines. That's got to be so inspirational for them.
Yes, and they really deserve it, too. They need this recognition, and I think that this webathon is one of the best things you can do, and we really need to raise these funds for them.
Absolutely. Well, we'll tell you more about that, and the numbers that you can call you'll find on our website. As I said, it is a live event, so you'll be able to watch it online, not only on our websites, but on a number of websites around the world. And if you are interested in becoming an affiliate, that is to say, to carry the show, the live show on your website during that 2-hour period, just write to us. You can write to Glenn at horseradionetwork.com, and he will send you the code that you put on the website and promote that so people can go to your website also to watch the webathon on June the 8th, Tuesday, June the 8th, between 7 and 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And I also want to remind you all that if we're all about entertainment here on this Dressage Radio Show, Mary, and we're always looking for funny stories. So if you have any funny stories out there, and I think most people with horses do, don't they, Mary?
Yeah, you can't really be around horses and not have a funny story to share.
No.
They're always doing something silly.
They are. And, it might be something that you didn't think was funny at the time, but if you look back at it, you think, well, that was funny. And, it's something you never forget.
Yeah.
So we always, as I say, want to hear from you. If you've got any funny stories to tell or anything that you think would be entertaining, just let us know here. And Mary's going to tell you, again, how to contact us here at the Dressage Radio Show.
That's right. You can contact us at, Chris, do you want me to share your email address? Or is it
Absolutely.
Okay. You can contact Chris at horseradionetwork.com. And also visit us on the fan page and Twitter, which you can follow the Horse Radio, and also Chris herself on Twitter. I'm also on Twitter as well, and my Twitter name is Mary Dressage.
That's easy enough to remember. Mary Dressage or Horse Radio or Chris E. Stafford. And you can also leave us a voicemail at 270-803-0025. Lots of ways to reach us here on the Dressage Radio Show. I also want to thank our sponsors this week, as always, that make this show possible. So don't forget to support them as they support us. And, of course, our crew here at the Horse Radio Network, Glenn the Geek and Brian, who get this show out every week for your listening pleasure. And don't forget to check out our other show on the 2010 radio show, which is all about the World Equestrian Games. Glenn the Geek and Samantha Clark are co-hosts on that show. And this week, they're going to be talking about bourbon tasting and their Spotlight endurance rider, Cheryl Dell. So check that out. Bourbon tasting sounds like a good excuse to have a show, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely, great idea. And so tune into that and find out if they were actually doing the tasting while they were hosting the show. You'll soon find out.
That would make things interesting.
It would, wouldn't it? I think you'll probably find out by the end of the show how much tasting they actually did. All right, Mary, well, we're just about running out of time here this week. I want to thank you so much for joining us and bringing our new segment for the Young Rider segment. And we look forward to your next edition here in a couple of weeks' time. And I'll be back here next week. So until then.
Thanks for listening, and remember to practice safe riding.